Let me start off by saying this. I want to discuss what's going on in Ukraine, the truth about what's really going on in Ukraine, the New World Order, the media criminals, and the rest of it. Look, first of all, I have Ukrainian blood. If I go back to my great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, I have quite a bit of Ukrainian blood. I also have quite a bit of Russian blood. I have a lot of both, which is the case for many, many, many people. I'm not here to advocate for or against Russia, for or against Ukraine. What I will say, well, actually that's not 100% accurate, but I stand with the Ukrainian people the same way I stand with the Russian people, okay? The Ukrainian people in general, and as I said, I have Ukrainian blood, quite a bit of it. Ukrainian people are generally wonderful, hardworking people, just as your average Russian is good and hardworking, okay? Any war is bad. I'm not a fan of war. Sometimes, unfortunately, it's necessary because we have evil people running the world, okay? And sometimes to defeat them, war is necessary, okay? I despise war, okay? I hate to see anyone who's innocent get hurt. And in any war, let's call a spade, it's always the innocents who suffer the most. It's always your average man, woman, and child who suffers the most. And it has been since the beginning of time itself. It's always the innocents who suffer. And it's always the rich pulling the strings behind the scenes. They're never in the front lines. That being said, okay, not the people of Ukraine, but the government, the people currently in charge, Ukraine as a country, from a structural standpoint, is a cesspool of criminals, Nazis, child traffickers, money laundering, bioweapons manufacturing, chemical weapons manufacturing. It is probably in the top 5 or 6 countries in everything that I've just mentioned. Putin is not attacking the Ukrainian people. And again, I'm not a fan of war. I'm just telling you the facts here. He is attacking the deep state cabal that has embedded itself in the Ukraine. The CIA has been there for a long time. The Biden family is knee-deep in corruption with the Ukrainian criminals in charge over there, as are many senators, congressmen, as are many U.S. billionaires, as are many world leaders, in fact, okay? Many U.S. officials have gotten kickbacks, including, we know, Hunter Biden, Sleepy Joe's son, okay? There is so much going on behind the scenes there in Ukraine. It's mind-boggling. The deep state is real deep in Ukraine. The Rothschild banks have a field day over there. The elites and the cabal have a field day over there. Okay, if you know anything about Hunter Biden, you'll understand why he made a fortune over there and why he has dealings over there, okay? Putin is going after the deep state that is in Ukraine, okay? But Jared, I saw a video, an innocent family. I know, and sadly, in any war, as I said, there's always going to be innocents who suffer, and it's heart-wrenching, okay? It's terrible. Sadly, that is a fact of war, okay? And just remember, y'all remember when Trump, before he became president, and when he was president, you remember everything the media was saying about President Trump? Orange man bad. That's all they kept repeating. Orange man bad. Didn't matter what he do. Orange man bad. You notice it's the same thing now about Putin. Trump's not in the picture, so Russian man bad. Russian man whose name is the same as our national dish here in Quebec, Poutine. Russian man who eats cheese curds, bad. It's the same rhetoric, the same propaganda, okay? The Ukrainian system, the Ukrainian government, those in charge in Ukraine are criminals, and it is a cesspool. Putin, I'm not saying he's a wonderful man, but he's always been against child trafficking. He's always been against devil worshippers. He's always been against the Rothschild cabal. He's always been against the New World Order. Okay? And Ukraine is a cesspool of all of that, and it's on his doorstep. It's in his backyard. And for those of you who don't know history, this whole situation between Ukraine and Russia goes back hundreds of years to even before the Crimean War. The original one, I believe, was from 1853 to 1856. And we all know that Putin annexed, okay, Crimea in 2014, March 2014. Okay? Number one, many Ukrainians would rather be under Putin's rule than the criminals in the Ukraine. And let's not forget that almost 20%, I believe it's 17 point something percent, of all Ukrainians identify as ethnic Russians. So this is not a simple thing. It's not a simple matter. Ukraine wants to join NATO. NATO despises Russia and Putin. So now the cabal is in Ukraine, but behind closed doors. They can't come out openly as being there. If Ukraine were to join NATO, they could amass a NATO army right on Russia's border. Putin's been warning them for years to get out of Ukraine. He's been warning the criminals and the cabal in Ukraine to get out for a very long time. And they didn't, and they made it worse. So I'm just gonna finish this video with a couple of quick things, okay? One, understand that Ukrainian people are good and decent people. The government is a deep state criminal cabal, one of the worst on the planet. Fact. And it's on Putin's doorstep. It's on Russia's doorstep, right in their backyard. Okay? And I would say that Putin's done a lot more to protect Ukrainian people and the people in the other breakaway states, far more than anyone else. Okay? 2, look at the media propaganda. Not only Orange man bad, Russian man bad, but it's Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine, Putin, Ukraine, Russia. You don't hear about COVID anymore. You don't hear any more talk from anyone. Look at how well the propaganda works. No one's talking about how the people, the elites, and the criminals and the government who have pulled this COVID shamdemic on us over the last 2 years and what they've done to us over 2 years, all of a sudden you don't hear anyone talking about them getting arrested anymore. Here in Canada, you had a dictator put us under our version of martial law for absolutely no reason. All of a sudden, you don't hear anyone talking about that anymore. You don't hear anyone talking about the heart attacks after the jabs. You don't hear anyone talking about HIV from the jabs. You don't hear any talk anymore about any of the criminals and the elites and the lying media and what they've done to us for the last 2 years. It's disappeared. Boom, gone. Gone. It's all about the war in the Ukraine. And it's not a war. It's going to end soon. It's not a war. They're pushing the propaganda so that they can jack up the gas prices and the food prices and make everyone suffer even more. If they're going to put sanctions on Russia, Russia's going to fight back. And prices are going to go up. But that's exactly what the evil cabal wants. So they knew Putin would do this because they pushed him to this point. Putin himself has said many times that the New World Order is in Ukraine. Well, it's in many places, but very much so in Ukraine. And that Ukraine is being run by foreign interests, and he's 100% right. And just look at the media. You don't hear any talk about anything else anymore. Everyone's already forgot about the heart attacks and the HIV and the lockdowns and the suicides and the curfews and everything else they've done to us over 2 years. Okay? Mandates. No one's talking about it. And look how well the puppets in the media, the criminals in the media with their propaganda, look how well it works. And let me end the video on one note. I expect the sheeple to eat it up. I was somewhere today, I don't want to say where, and I overheard a conversation where a woman was telling somebody else how it seems like in the winter, COVID's always going to keep coming back, so I guess we have to get used to this, but I don't know if I'm ever going to feel comfortable not wearing a mask anymore. I think no matter where I go for the rest of my life, I might be wearing a mask. People like her, I expect to eat up the bull crap from the media and from the government. That's what sheeple do. They will believe everything and anything you tell them. And half of the world are sheeple. Half, 50% of the population are those type of people that will drive alone wearing a mask, that will get 18 jabs even after they tell you that you don't need them anymore. They will believe whatever they're told. I expect the sheeple to fall for this media blitz propaganda about Putin and Russia. I am disappointed in most of the people who claim to be awake, who can't see through it. The same people who were able to see the COVID pandemic, shamdemic, scamdemic for what it was. The same people dancing in Ottawa and supporting the truckers for freedom are eating up this bull crap like Putin, like the real Putin with the cheese curds, fries, and gravy. It's mind-boggling to me. Believe me, with all due respect, you're not awake if you think that there's nothing more here than a bad Russian man who's decided to invade a sovereign nation. You're not awake if you know nothing about Ukraine, my friends. You're not awake. I don't care how much you could support the freedom and how much you were against mandates. You have absolutely no idea what's going on in this world if you don't understand what the cabal is and that one of their headquarters is in the Ukraine and it happens to be on Russia's border, right in Vladimir Putin's backyard, on his doorstep, okay? You're not awake. And it's mind-boggling to me how many so-called awake people just can't see it. So what, all of a sudden you were smart enough to not believe the media over the last 2 years because you saw that they were criminals and actors and puppets and paid buffoons, and that they were lying to you on a daily basis, many times a day, but all of a sudden they're telling you the truth about Russia and Ukraine? Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? So, if you think that you're awake, do yourself a favor. You need to go down that rabbit hole a lot deeper, my friend. A lot deeper. Because I have 2 accounts, and on both my accounts, I've got 5,000 people. And I think most of them are so-called awake people. I've kind of weeded out all the sheeple. But I'll tell you something, 90% of them are falling for the crap. They're falling for the media blitz and the media propaganda. And it's mind-boggling to me that all of a sudden, today, all of a sudden the media is telling the truth and the governments are telling the truth about Ukraine and Russia. Go down that rabbit hole a lot deeper. Putin's going in there to clean out the deep state cabal. Jared out.